Become a receptionist after 2 days. Become a receptionist after 2 days. Aren't we hiding? Aren't we hiding? I'm in the room with the candy. I'm in the room with the candy. Was his stepfather a greengrocer? Was his stepfather a greengrocer? Can you please help me with this? Can you please help me with this? Doesn't it ship every month? Doesn't it ship every month? Didn't we invite you every day? Didn't we invite you every day? I'll be home at 6 p.m. I'll be home at 6 p.m. Both parties must be willing to work together. Both parties must be willing to work together. Are their neighbors firefighters? Are their neighbors firefighters? Will it hold up immediately? Will it hold up immediately? They ran a marathon. They ran a marathon. They usually continue. They usually continue. Stickman annual. Stickman annual. Can't it tempt at dawn? Can't it tempt at dawn? I may never know. I may never know. His neighbor is the bartender. His neighbor is the bartender. Are your parents inspectors? Are your parents inspectors? Must refuse. Must refuse. Will sleep every month. Will sleep every month. I have too much confidence in myself. I have too much confidence in myself. We shouldn't shout after one night. We shouldn't shout after one night. I couldn't quite understand his name. I couldn't quite understand his name. Shouldn't they do it every day? Shouldn't they do it every day? We did not disclose. We did not disclose. I know I can always count on him. I know I can always count on him. I shouldn't be a monthly truck driver. I shouldn't be a monthly truck driver. Shouldn't it hurt every year? Shouldn't it hurt every year? Her mother-in-law was an astronomer. Her mother-in-law was an astronomer. We will not be ambassadors right away. We will not be ambassadors right away. By the end of the month I will have saved enough for a new car. By the end of the month I will have saved enough for a new car. His aunts were brewers. His aunts were brewers. You create. You create. Should have last year. Should have last year. His half-brother is a blacksmith. His half-brother is a blacksmith. Did they follow up every week? Did they follow up every week? Aren't you normally supposed to be a sportscaster? Aren't you normally supposed to be a sportscaster? Could you turn off the TV, please? Could you turn off the TV, please? You would exercise every day. You would exercise every day. Will he like it after 3 nights? Will he like it after 3 nights? Do they respond to our request for a quiet room? Do they respond to our request for a quiet room? Was our nephew a soldier? Was our nephew a soldier? Shouldn't they match? Shouldn't they match? I saw a pink rabbit in the forest. I saw a pink rabbit in the forest. Is his grandson a stockbroker? Is his grandson a stockbroker? Then they will play 4 in the morning. Then they will play 4 in the morning. Haven't you taken it before? Haven't you taken it before? Didn't you fail? Didn't you fail? Can we get a coroner in 1 day? Can we get a coroner in 1 day? Shouldn't it wait every year? Shouldn't it wait every year? Can't I teach? Can't I teach? Can I grow old? Can I grow old? Should he think? Should he think? The car driver should race immediately. The car driver should race immediately. I go to the market to buy something to eat. I go to the market to buy something to eat. The economic crisis led to high unemployment rates. The economic crisis led to high unemployment rates. I'm applying. I'm applying. Will he ride next year? Will he ride next year? Was his son a glazier? Was his son a glazier? Can we get to class in an hour? Can we get to class in an hour? After 3 seconds, it should be the ranger. After 3 seconds, it should be the ranger. Were we getting taller every day? Were we getting taller every day? I'm confused about what you want me to do. I'm confused about what you want me to do. Relevant information is essential for making informed decisions. Relevant information is essential for making informed decisions. We will fill it soon. We will fill it soon. I'm in the upstairs room. I'm in the upstairs room. I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they don't work. We traveled to New York. We traveled to New York. Analyzed immediately. Analyzed immediately. We couldn't lobby every year. We couldn't lobby every year. Will you design often? Will you design often? Can't get it often? Can't get it often? Didn't they survive? Didn't they survive? I talked to my teacher about my grades. I talked to my teacher about my grades. My sister was a ballerina. My sister was a ballerina. Just as every business has its own skills, every investment has its own risks. Just as every business has its own skills, every investment has its own risks. I never believe. I never believe. It is not the nighttime effect. It is not the nighttime effect. You can see the new construction across the street. You can see the new construction across the street. Can they watch? Can they watch? Should I do magic before? Should I do magic before? Is your stepbrother the governor? Is your stepbrother the governor? Were his half-brothers night watchmen? Were his half-brothers night watchmen? Can't he be a bellboy for 3 evenings later? Can't he be a bellboy for 3 evenings later? I was not sleeping now. I was not sleeping now. I can't hurt. I can't hurt. Can he use the afternoon? Can he use the afternoon? Prepare to be impressed by the new president. Prepare to be impressed by the new president. Was his half-brother a barber? Was his half-brother a barber? I'll kiss you if you promise to be a good boy. I'll kiss you if you promise to be a good boy. Did not believe. Did not believe. Do they settle often? Do they settle often? His brother-in-law is a farmer. His brother-in-law is a farmer. I'll tie the atmosphere to the August sun to attract you. I'll tie the atmosphere to the August sun to attract you. He is the guard. He is the guard. Would not be afraid. Would not be afraid. Shouldn't I be a deputy? Shouldn't I be a deputy? Check out at 11 a.m. Check out at 11 a.m. Aren't we going to be paramedics in a week? Aren't we going to be paramedics in a week? We share many interests and have a lot of fun together. We share many interests and have a lot of fun together. We'll communicate in 2 seconds. We'll communicate in 2 seconds. Can I be a sociologist from time to time? Can I be a sociologist from time to time? Ask next year. Ask next year. Can't it be at sunrise? Can't it be at sunrise? They take a nap after lunch. They take a nap after lunch. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite fit. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite fit. Let's collect employee feedback before making any changes. Let's collect employee feedback before making any changes. Was his stepfather a rower? Was his stepfather a rower? Shouldn't he invent every day? Shouldn't he invent every day? Do they need to appeal right away? Do they need to appeal right away? Was your stepdaughter a publicist? Was your stepdaughter a publicist? We have a signed contract for the project. We have a signed contract for the project. I'm going to the store. I'm going to the store. They were destroyed at night. They were destroyed at night. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. Shall we open? Shall we open? Can't be the organizer after 2 centuries? Can't be the organizer after 2 centuries? Can't appeal after 5 months? Can't appeal after 5 months? My son is a consultant. My son is a consultant. Don't you eat occasionally? Don't you eat occasionally? Can they exercise at dawn? Can they exercise at dawn? My father is a choreographer. My father is a choreographer. Do you always have to inspect? Do you always have to inspect? They would listen. They would listen. Can you help me with these bags? Can you help me with these bags? It won't demolish the building after 1 weekend. It won't demolish the building after 1 weekend. I cook dinner for my family. I cook dinner for my family. She looks after her child while her husband is at work. She looks after her child while her husband is at work. Aren't we directly at 5 a.m.? Aren't we directly at 5 a.m.? Do I often forget? Do I often forget? Will it not support after 4 years? Will it not support after 4 years? Were they inspectors? Were they inspectors? Will there be war soon? Will there be war soon? It was clear before. It was clear before. I couldn't deal. I couldn't deal. Your wife was a professor. Your wife was a professor. Can I cover? Can I cover? Friend stewardess. Friend stewardess. I replied 5 months ago. I replied 5 months ago. Wasn't he a columnist 3 minutes ago? Wasn't he a columnist 3 minutes ago? Doesn't it change after 2 weeks? Doesn't it change after 2 weeks? Will they provide? Will they provide? Did it wait 10 years? Did it wait 10 years? I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the beach. I will bond with my friends while having a drink. I will bond with my friends while having a drink. Can't we shoot at dusk? Can't we shoot at dusk? Both my mom and dad are retired now. Both my mom and dad are retired now. Would it be suitable at dusk? Would it be suitable at dusk? 2. I don't notice anything special about the case. 2. I don't notice anything special about the case. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Will he not ride? Will he not ride? I don't want to lose a lot of things to look good. I don't want to lose a lot of things to look good. We shouldn't shout after one night. We shouldn't shout after one night. Can model 3 hours ago. Can model 3 hours ago. You may not act occasionally. You may not act occasionally. I don't notice anything special about the event. I don't notice anything special about the event. Didn't they realize? Didn't they realize? Can I never be a consultant? Can I never be a consultant? Your grandparents are lumberjacks. Your grandparents are lumberjacks. Is our son an oncologist? Is our son an oncologist? His grandfathers were columnists. His grandfathers were columnists. Isn't she cold? Isn't she cold? He studied abroad in Spain. He studied abroad in Spain. British English and American English are the most common. British English and American English are the most common. Should it be added from time to time? Should it be added from time to time? Were his cousins dietitians? Were his cousins dietitians? They didn't become writers every year. They didn't become writers every year. He wouldn't see it in 4 weeks. He wouldn't see it in 4 weeks. We have a signed contract for the project. We have a signed contract for the project. I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. A century later, they must be protected. A century later, they must be protected. Our colleague was a chemist. Our colleague was a chemist. Rarely did he become an economist. Rarely did he become an economist. Friend stewardess. Friend stewardess. Can you appreciate? Can you appreciate? I will bond with my friends while having a drink. I will bond with my friends while having a drink. There are many different dialects of English. There are many different dialects of English. I'm confused about what you're trying to say. I'm confused about what you're trying to say. They should not live at noon. They should not live at noon. Not reporting for 2 weeks. Not reporting for 2 weeks. Can I evaluate? Can I evaluate? His grandfather was a bounty hunter. His grandfather was a bounty hunter. A product is something made by a process. A product is something made by a process. Is it informed annually? Is it informed annually? I'm going to learn Spanish in the fall. I'm going to learn Spanish in the fall. Don't we hate every year? Don't we hate every year? We must approach at night. We must approach at night. Can't you dream at dawn? Can't you dream at dawn? They will worry. They will worry. I read news online every day. I read news online every day. We should not act at dawn. We should not act at dawn. Sometimes it has to cost. Sometimes it has to cost. Can it sell normally? Can it sell normally? His relatives were dermatologists. His relatives were dermatologists. His cousins were lobbyists. His cousins were lobbyists. I'm going to the gym tonight. I'm going to the gym tonight. Would kill at dusk. Would kill at dusk. Is her uncle an esthetician? Is her uncle an esthetician? Took charge 1 day ago? Took charge 1 day ago? I would increase it often. I would increase it often. Electrician every year? Electrician every year? After 5 weekends he is a garbage collector. After 5 weekends he is a garbage collector. I don't know if I can handle the truth. I don't know if I can handle the truth. They travel to different countries every year. They travel to different countries every year. Wouldn't he normally hit? Wouldn't he normally hit? Can't always be the florist? Can't always be the florist? Was his stepfather a urologist? Was his stepfather a urologist? Did not do angling in the month. Did not do angling in the month. Was your stepfather a businesswoman? Was your stepfather a businesswoman? We must complete this task by the end of the day. We must complete this task by the end of the day. Dear God, I absolutely need your help. Dear God, I absolutely need your help. We cannot recommend. We cannot recommend. Is our sister an apprentice? Is our sister an apprentice? Was your aunt a rower? Was your aunt a rower? Won't agree after a second. Won't agree after a second. You can teach. You can teach. It would connect at 1 a.m. It would connect at 1 a.m. Can you be responsible? Can you be responsible? Will you mark it at dusk? Will you mark it at dusk? It will not be renewed after 4 centuries. It will not be renewed after 4 centuries. He runs in the park every morning. He runs in the park every morning. Do they mean? Do they mean? Should show. Should show. Could you pass the salt, please? Could you pass the salt, please? Shouldn't it be suppressed at sunset? Shouldn't it be suppressed at sunset? Aren't you normally a physicist? Aren't you normally a physicist? Will there ever be a curator? Will there ever be a curator? You should not carry it after a month. You should not carry it after a month. Can't I repeat? Can't I repeat? Don't they assume 2 centuries later? Don't they assume 2 centuries later? I've never been tempted before. I've never been tempted before. Are we welders every week? Are we welders every week? I don't go out if it's windy. I don't go out if it's windy. I agree with your opinion. I agree with your opinion. They do not match. They do not match. I'm sorry if I startled you. I'm sorry if I startled you. Can't I be a missionary later? Can't I be a missionary later? Can be selected immediately. Can be selected immediately. I have a lot of fun on the beach. I have a lot of fun on the beach. The house is out of the reach of manpower. The house is out of the reach of manpower. There won't be a librarian last year. There won't be a librarian last year. Can't he stretch? Can't he stretch? I love bacon. I can eat it every day. I love bacon. I can eat it every day. Will not sound. Will not sound. Can't lift it from time to time? Can't lift it from time to time? Couldn't they be lifeguards last year? Couldn't they be lifeguards last year? We listened to a podcast on the way to work. We listened to a podcast on the way to work. I have to pick up my son from school. I have to pick up my son from school. He didn't start. He didn't start. Actually, I don't have any plans for tonight. Actually, I don't have any plans for tonight. We don't burn. We don't burn. Was your wife a lawyer? Was your wife a lawyer? When were you born? When were you born? His neighbor was a welder. His neighbor was a welder. What is the English word for blank? What is the English word for blank? You were reported at sunrise. You were reported at sunrise. Shouldn't he attend every 2 weeks? Shouldn't he attend every 2 weeks? You will not blow at noon. You will not blow at noon. I have too much tolerance. I have too much tolerance. Will we never be dietitians? Will we never be dietitians? We have a signed contract for the project. We have a signed contract for the project. His grandfathers were columnists. His grandfathers were columnists. Next summer I will be playing the guitar for 5 years. Next summer I will be playing the guitar for 5 years. Wasn't I chosen? Wasn't I chosen? The disease spread rapidly and affected many people in the community. The disease spread rapidly and affected many people in the community. He can speak more than one language. He can speak more than one language. They can enter per month. They can enter per month. Never agreed? Never agreed? It should not be applied every day. It should not be applied every day. Don't we need to wash dishes often? Don't we need to wash dishes often? I can be a travel agent at sunrise. I can be a travel agent at sunrise. The 21st century has brought many changes. The 21st century has brought many changes. Shall we vote at dawn? Shall we vote at dawn? Watched the sunset on the beach. Watched the sunset on the beach. We will present our proposal at the meeting. We will present our proposal at the meeting. What is your favorite animal? What is your favorite animal? In the future, we will continue to strive for success. In the future, we will continue to strive for success. Shouldn't you be putting 4 weekends back? Shouldn't you be putting 4 weekends back? I will have lunch. I will have lunch. I live in a small part of the city. I live in a small part of the city. Never hated the cloud before. Never hated the cloud before. The color of the sky changes throughout the day. The color of the sky changes throughout the day. It was not the place. It was not the place. They are not eaten every year. They are not eaten every year. I won't go out if the ground is wet. I won't go out if the ground is wet. Was your son a shipper? Was your son a shipper? Your accent is very strong. Your accent is very strong. Can I hide? Can I hide? You lie down at midnight later at 2 a.m. You lie down at midnight later at 2 a.m. Can it wait every week? Can it wait every week? Got work in 2 weeks. Got work in 2 weeks. Is our niece a secretary? Is our niece a secretary? Can you spell it please? Can you spell it please? Doesn't it cost every day? Doesn't it cost every day? Didn't I harvest at dusk? Didn't I harvest at dusk? Thinking weekly? Thinking weekly? By the end of the week, we will be planning the event for a month. By the end of the week, we will be planning the event for a month. Will you increase? Will you increase? I can escape soon. I can escape soon. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this happened. He will watch the match with his friends at home. He will watch the match with his friends at home. Aren't you a firefighter 4 centuries later? Aren't you a firefighter 4 centuries later? I am interested in learning about other cultures. I am interested in learning about other cultures. Descendants are workers. Descendants are workers. His niece was an ecologist. His niece was an ecologist. By next summer, we will be building the house for a year. By next summer, we will be building the house for a year. I'm in the room with the sofa. I'm in the room with the sofa. Won't it hurt? Won't it hurt? His daughter was a cashier. His daughter was a cashier. I walked to the store. I walked to the store. Our members are very active and we have a lot of fun. Our members are very active and we have a lot of fun. When the concert is over, we will be dancing for 3 hours. When the concert is over, we will be dancing for 3 hours. Inspector in 5 hours? Inspector in 5 hours? It would be connected in 2 weeks. It would be connected in 2 weeks. I'm not continuing now. I'm not continuing now. You should eat at night. You should eat at night. This was a really great movie. This was a really great movie. International relations are shaped by economic, political and cultural factors. International relations are shaped by economic, political and cultural factors. could not be born, could not be born, may not have masseuse last year, may not have masseuse last year. Aren't they 2 weeks from the advertiser? Aren't they 2 weeks from the advertiser? Can't we wrestle often? Can't we wrestle often? Should he harvest at dawn? Should he harvest at dawn? Shouldn't he be a judge every month? Shouldn't he be a judge every month? Can you explain how to use this tool? Can you explain how to use this tool? Does it always have to be a physiologist? Does it always have to be a physiologist? I'm going to the library to buy a new book. I'm going to the library to buy a new book. We'll start a war. We'll start a war. You can then include it. You can then include it. Should we finish this task today or can it wait until tomorrow? Should we finish this task today or can it wait until tomorrow? Before we make a decision, let's gather more data. Before we make a decision, let's gather more data. Will not choose. Will not choose. Does it sit every year? Does it sit every year? I'm in the room with the chairs. I'm in the room with the chairs. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. They were continuing. They were continuing. My nephew was a gardener. My nephew was a gardener. Should it force 2 weeks later? Should it force 2 weeks later? They kiss. They kiss. Weren't they naturalists last year? Weren't they naturalists last year? I can come every month. I can come every month. They can give private lessons for 15 days. They can give private lessons for 15 days. You were not nervous. You were not nervous. After the storm passed, we were able to detect the damage. After the storm passed, we were able to detect the damage. Did they respond to our request for a quiet room? Did they respond to our request for a quiet room? Can now refuse. Can now refuse. Wasn't I 3 games in the morning before? Wasn't I 3 games in the morning before? Can't they touch at noon? Can't they touch at noon? I had a sandwich for lunch. I had a sandwich for lunch. Was your stepson an air traffic controller? Was your stepson an air traffic controller? His grandfather is a senator. His grandfather is a senator. I have to throw it away right now. I have to throw it away right now. It won't bother you anytime soon. It won't bother you anytime soon. I am a business owner and I want to grow my business. I am a business owner and I want to grow my business. Were their children lawyers? Were their children lawyers? He listened to an audiobook on his way to work. He listened to an audiobook on his way to work. Our colleague was a chemist. Our colleague was a chemist. Our grandmother was a maid. Our grandmother was a maid. Immediately became botanists. Immediately became botanists. We did not question. We did not question. Not analyzed later. Not analyzed later. Should they bake earlier? Should they bake earlier? I'm surprised you can do this. I'm surprised you can do this. Your friend is the owner. Your friend is the owner. Is my niece a babysitter? Is my niece a babysitter? Her stepdaughters are publishers. Her stepdaughters are publishers. I will be brave. I will be brave. My husband is an ironer. My husband is an ironer. You prefer weekly. You prefer weekly. You should not carry. You should not carry. I thought you said you would help me. I thought you said you would help me. Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? You are not a monthly nurse. You are not a monthly nurse. Do I have to teach in a minute? Do I have to teach in a minute? Didn't I push 1 week ago? Didn't I push 1 week ago? Your son is an esthetician. Your son is an esthetician. My nephew was a consultant. My nephew was a consultant. Ironing in a month? Ironing in a month? Will I close after 4 weeks? Will I close after 4 weeks? Then I have to talk. Then I have to talk. Are his brothers postmen? Are his brothers postmen? I'm sure you'll remember all the words we learned. I'm sure you'll remember all the words we learned. I put all my jewelry in the box to protect it. I put all my jewelry in the box to protect it. Can I address? Can I address? Is her stepbrother a ranger? Is her stepbrother a ranger? I don't notice anything special about the current state of things. I don't notice anything special about the current state of things. I will have finished all my homework by the end of the week. I will have finished all my homework by the end of the week. My children are businesswomen. My children are businesswomen. The child is beyond criticism. The child is beyond criticism. Is our sister a therapist? Is our sister a therapist? Can't upload later? Can't upload later? Can't drive at dawn? Can't drive at dawn? I'm going to watch a movie at the cinema tonight. I'm going to watch a movie at the cinema tonight. I'm likely to list everything I need to do to stay organized. I'm likely to list everything I need to do to stay organized. My mother-in-law was a glazier. My mother-in-law was a glazier. Was he ever a referee? Was he ever a referee? They cannot win. They cannot win. They can develop. They can develop. Does he have to play every week? Does he have to play every week? Do you usually? Do you usually? Will they never be receptionists? Will they never be receptionists? Can they judge next year? Can they judge next year? Can't you create it later? Can't you create it later? In the end everything went well. In the end everything went well. Are we going to be architects every day? Are we going to be architects every day? I'm going to wear my new dress to the party. I'm going to wear my new dress to the party. You can love after 4 years. You can love after 4 years. This makes sense, but I'm still not sure I understand. This makes sense, but I'm still not sure I understand. Wouldn't he run after 4 days? Wouldn't he run after 4 days? I'm in the room with the sink. I'm in the room with the sink. Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. He's not always a laundress. He's not always a laundress. By the end of the year, I will have visited 5 different countries. By the end of the year, I will have visited 5 different countries. You should give. You should give. We can invest. We can invest. Failed every year. Failed every year. Does he want it now? Does he want it now? You analyze. You analyze. Wouldn't you be a truck driver for the year? Wouldn't you be a truck driver for the year? If there is a chance of a storm, I will not go out. If there is a chance of a storm, I will not go out. Can they appear every month? Can they appear every month? Her aunt is a translator. Her aunt is a translator. I have to be homeowner in 4 weeks. I have to be homeowner in 4 weeks. His mother is the second man. His mother is the second man. Your neighbor is an anthropologist. Your neighbor is an anthropologist. The boy was playing with the toy car. The boy was playing with the toy car. They will not check. They will not check. Shall I quote right away? Shall I quote right away? Returns at noon. Returns at noon. She sings in the church choir. She sings in the church choir. Can't they assume? Can't they assume? You can never place it. You can never place it. Could you butcher last year? Could you butcher last year? Can they live beyond 5 years? Can they live beyond 5 years? It did not burn. It did not burn. We can remember. We can remember. Shouldn't we be right back? Shouldn't we be right back? Both the company and its employees will benefit from the new policy. Both the company and its employees will benefit from the new policy. Should I enter later? Should I enter later? Denies it. Denies it. Isn't he always a landscaper? Isn't he always a landscaper? Won't you watch then? Won't you watch then? Can he make jewelry? Can he make jewelry? If it's dry, I won't go out. If it's dry, I won't go out. Do I ever research? Do I ever research? They are usually not attractive. They are usually not attractive. Can it grow every month? Can it grow every month? Shouldn't we close? Shouldn't we close? Wouldn't you recommend after 2 nights? Wouldn't you recommend after 2 nights? Can we catch it next year? Can we catch it next year? We'll sleep every month. We'll sleep every month. Will I ask after 4 nights? Will I ask after 4 nights? Not a judge now. Not a judge now. Do we have to serve after 4 midnight? Do we have to serve after 4 midnight? Which is your favorite book? Which is your favorite book? We should be better. We should be better. Were our children educators? Were our children educators? One I have a couple of dies. One I have a couple of dies. They could not immediately become entrepreneurs. They could not immediately become entrepreneurs. You are not often an operator. You are not often an operator. Her grandfather is a gymnast. Her grandfather is a gymnast. 100 people attended the meeting. 100 people attended the meeting. Can fly immediately. Can fly immediately. They'll be out soon. They'll be out soon. Even though it's cold outside, I still plan to ride a bike. Even though it's cold outside, I still plan to ride a bike. Are they threatened now? Are they threatened now? Doesn't he kick? Doesn't he kick? We rent a quiet place to live. We rent a quiet place to live. Is their spouse the second man? Is their spouse the second man? You should not apply. You should not apply. I studied Spanish in high school. I studied Spanish in high school. Can you please repeat it? Can you please repeat it? I haven't played for 2 weeks. I haven't played for 2 weeks. Was my sister a beekeeper? Was my sister a beekeeper? I supported. I supported. Our cousins are designers. Our cousins are designers. Can't it stop? Can't it stop? Did they banker at night? Did they banker at night? My mother-in-law was a glazier. My mother-in-law was a glazier. I'm still not sure what I want to do with my life. I'm still not sure what I want to do with my life. We couldn't ignore it a week ago. We couldn't ignore it a week ago. Is his brother a geographer? Is his brother a geographer? Can we create at sunset? Can we create at sunset? Was my stepbrother a pharmacist? Was my stepbrother a pharmacist? Am I taking advantage? Am I taking advantage? This is urgent. This is urgent. According to the report, the company is doing well. According to the report, the company is doing well. Noon is not a tradesman. Noon is not a tradesman. They don't know. They don't know. Was his brother a commander? Was his brother a commander? It should not merge after 5 minutes. It should not merge after 5 minutes. They will thank. They will thank. Doesn't he look at the sunset? Doesn't he look at the sunset? You can watch it at noon. You can watch it at noon. We can finish later. We can finish later. I would be a librarian by noon. I would be a librarian by noon. She will take dance lessons in the morning. She will take dance lessons in the morning. I can't close at noon. I can't close at noon.